Hello and welcome back in episode number 5 of making a boring engine into a tuner dream engine. As you can see, this is the Ford Transit 2-liter engine made, I don't know, back in the 70s, 80s. I think so, because this engine stayed in production for a very long time. Yeah. Alright, so yes, I know I forgot the production years, but it's okay because this engine actually used not only in the Ford Transit, they used it in a lot of cars. There was like a low compression version of it and a high compression version of it. This is the low compression version of it, used like in normal production cars, vans, family sedans, whatever. And there was like the high compression version of it, which was used like in rally cars, sport cars, in that era, at that time. Let's see. Alright, so as you can see, the Ford Transit used actually a lot of engine made their way into the Transit. Diesel engine, petrol engines, carbureted, fuel injected, turbocharged engines. A lot of engines made their way into this amazing van. A lot of people actually like this van. I mean, it's very likable, and it's, I think, the most known van ever produced in the entire world. Everyone knows the Ford Transit. Everyone, if you anyone that you ask him what's the most famous van ever produced, I would say the Ford Transit. It's the most knowable name ever. Yes, that's good. That's very awesome. It reminds me with the Ford Model T. Everyone knows it. Everyone actually like it because it started the industry of cars, which was really cool back then. All right, so let's move on because we got off the topic. Let's get back on it. So as you can see, a cool fan actually requested this video, which is the Mr. the Diamond Miner. He requested the Ford Transit engine, which I was a little bit frustrated because when I went online and when I opened Wikipedia, and I found out about a lot of engines made their way into the Transit. There was like the first generation with facelift, second generation with first facelift, and whatever. This engine was in the first generation facelift. That's what he wanted, the first generation. So as you can see, this is it. Let's start with the specs. As you can see, we have inline 4 engine, cast iron block, 90.8 millimeters on the bore, 76.9 millimeters on the stroke, which equals 1992 cc engine, or you can say a 2-liter engine. We have also, let me explain this one. On Wikipedia they said that this engine used OHC, or you can say an overhead cam, right? Overhead camshaft. Alright, so which version of it? They wrote on Wikipedia OHC, not overhead cam, or not single overhead cam. So I don't know which one I had to use, because this one is single overhead cam, this is dual overhead cam. But on Wikipedia though, they wrote this simple OHC without direct acting. So I don't know, actually. I don't know which one they used. Like my heart is telling me to go with overhead cam, but because of this symbol, I'm gonna stay with direct acting overhead cam. And also the reason why I've chosen this one, because this pulley here, this camshaft, this cam gear here, this one, on the original engine, this one is exposed. Yes, like this one, it's exposed. You can see the timing belt. Yes, it's very exposed like this one, but the overhead cam, it's not exposed, as you can see. And also the valve covers here, on the original engine, it's narrow like this one. It's not wide, as you can see. So that's why I've chosen the direct acting overhead cam. Let's see, cast iron head, no VVL, of course. It's a classic engine. Cast iron crankshaft, cast connecting rods, and cast pistons. Zero quality on the internals. And of course I'm using, this is the original, this is low compression Ford engine that Ford used at that time, which is 8.2 to 1 is the compression ratio, 34 on the cam profile. And yes, I had to use plus 15 quality here so I can maintain the correct power and torque figures. Natural aspirated, of course. Single barrel carburetor, as you can see, which is like the real one, because the real one actually used a Motorcraft 1V, that's what they call it, Motorcraft 1V carburetor. And yes, it's basically the same. It's a single barrel carburetor, standard intake manifold. And since we are, like, imagine you have this engine in 2018 right now, you have to put unleaded fuel in it. You have to do that. There is no leaded fuel in 2018. That's why I've chosen like premium 95 octane fuel, so I can have like extra octane room, so I can make the correct power and torque figures. 13.3 is the air-fuel ratio, which is a little bit too much. We are very close from the max air-fuel ratio, and 69 on the ignition timing, and 4000 is the RPM limit. Also, the RPM limit, I'm not really sure about it, but I'm saying like 4000 is very good for a van, so I've kept it because I didn't find what kind of RPM that engine reached in real life. +5 quality on the fuel system. Cast log, this is very common at those times. Cast log headers. And let's see what we have here. 1.8-inch exhaust diameter, two-way catalytic converters. Of course, you have to use catalytic converters because we are in 2018. The government will tell you to put a catalytic converter on your engine, and I think you have to put an O2 sensor, so you will not burn the catalytic converters. You have to keep everything in check if you want to maintain this engine legally. Let's see, we have a baffled first muffler, which is the worst muffler ever produced. I hate this muffler, but I had to use it here. Reverse flow second muffler with +15 quality. And this is the final result. Like the real engine, 76 horsepower, 115 pound-feet of torque, like the Ford version of this engine, because there is like another version of this engine with more power and less torque, like I think with 89 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. This one is the opposite, 76, 115. As you can see, it's heavy. Of course, everything made from cast iron, and of course it has normal reliability to it and normal fuel economy at that time. I mean, 14% back then was really good, but now it's not really responsive. It's because it's it's only a single barrel carburetor. It's very quiet, extremely quiet, and it has normal smoothness to it, and the service cost is very low, which is good. And since we are making like, this is not like a real replica, because look at the engineering time. This is too much for this engine, but this is like, I'm telling you, like, imagine if you have this engine right now in 2018. You have to put all of these things on it so you can make it legally work, unless if you are living like in a country that allows you to run your engine without any catalytic converter, then it's fine with you. Alright, so let's fire up this tiny beast here, and this is what's called direct acting overhead cam. As you can see, the camshaft itself is spinning on the valve. As you can see, valve springs itself, unlike the single overhead cam, which will have like a rocker arms on it. This one doesn't have like rocker arms. Direct act, directly touching the head of the valve, as you can see. That's why I was a little bit as you can see, mixed up between using a single overhead cam or this direct acting overhead cam. So you can, if you know the correct spec, tell me in the comment section below. I would love to hear it from you. Alright, so let's fire it up. As you can see and as you can hear, it sounds very cool and very smooth actually. I mean, they are saying here only 48 points, but in real I think it's a smooth engine. It's very quiet, as you can hear, which is really good. So as you can see now, this is the stock version of it. I want to make more power, because this is the whole point of this series. So let's see, it has only 76 horsepower. Let's save it, go out and search for 76 horsepower. You can find it here, or you can find it immediately, because the worst engine or the lowest horsepower engine that I ever made is this one, the City Eco, 66 horsepower. This is 76, just immediately after it. Alright, so let's choose the family. Let's choose the family. No, let's pick Cologne. Cologne is much easier. Alright, Cologne, revise, and alright, now let's work on this beast here. So as you can see, to make this engine to produce more power, we need to upgrade it, and the best example to do so is the exhaust system. The exhaust is very restrictive, I think. Yes, it's very restrictive, and of course these headers are absolute crap. Alright, so let's start modifying it. First of all, let's change this headers, because I don't think that you can find like a shortcast headers to purchase like an aftermarket ones. You have to go like maybe if there is an aftermarket one, I would prefer like stainless steel, like this one, like these, or aluminium. I don't know actually what kind of material comes with aftermarket. So let's go with tubular, because these usually comes in kits. Let's go to 2" maybe. Oh no, not 2". Let's go here and switch to high flow 2-way catalytic converter. Remove this stupid muffler, put straight through, straight through. Ah, let's go back. I think no, we have to stay with reverse flow, I think. Alright, so we have 88 horsepower right now instead of 76, which is really impressive, and the engine will sound much better now. And check out the curve. I mean, look at the power and the torque. They will not come across each other. Everyone has its own separate line because of the low RPM. Alright, so as you can see, this is a good step a really good step to start with. Now let's switch. Like, let's say that you have saved a little money and you want to upgrade your engine even more. Like you went to the junkyard, or you went online, or even if you can find like a qualified shop with mechanics and fabricators that can fabricate for you like a better intake manifold with twin carburetors supporting lines, as you can see. So let's switch to a performance. As you can see, it's bigger here and it has shorter runners, and switch to twin single barrel carburetors. This way, look what kind of difference we have. More throttle response, lower octane value, and as you can see, better throttle response. As you can see, no, sorry, this is not throttle response, this is fuel efficiency. This is throttle response. Yeah, it will get a little heavier because of the second carburetor, and yes, of course, it will get less reliable because you have to work on 2 carburetors now. But now the engine will sound really good. Listen. But before starting the engine, usually after you buy like a second carburetor, or a different carburetor, or do anything with a carburetor, you have to go to the dyno shop so you can get it perfectly dyno tuned. So let's see how much actually RPM we can raise the engine to. 5,000. Let's say 6,000. Alright, 6,000 is very good and very different. No, the fuel, keep the fuel the same, increase the ignition timing. Like this. 85 is perfect. And let's see, what should we do? Alright, this is by far, and we can actually drop the fuel a little bit so we can maintain like a really good fuel mixture and a really healthy engine with a good fuel economy. Alright, so what we have now is 107 horsepower, 124 pound-feet of torque instead of 76 horsepower, which was really pathetic. Let's fire it up. And listen to that. What an engine! I love this engine so much. After these small modifications, it starts to breathe better, and it starts to make much higher power. Alright, so now what should we do next? I mean, you can upgrade the exhaust into a long tubular, like you can find like again a qualified fabricator that can do this to your engine. Let's see, go to 2" exhaust diameter. You can go to straight through muffler. Actually, we'll lose a little bit of torque. You can go back like to 1.8 inch as before. Just change the muffler, the headers and the muffler, and you are all set. That's amazing. I love the sound of this engine. Alright, so the next step is of course to change the camshaft. This is like a really tiny camshaft that the main purpose of it to produce low end torque, but now we want more power, so we need to go even higher than this. So let's see, you want to upgrade it with a bigger camshaft with a more aggressive loop. Let's go until we start to lose torque. When we lose torque, we will stop. Right now. Here we go. So 69. It says it's a high, as you can see, it's a high performance, high sporty camshaft profile. And let's see, I think we can increase the RPM limit until like hit 7,000. 7,000 is very good. Alright, so 7,000 RPM from the same engine, the same internals actually. Of course, your engine has to be really clean. I mean, low mileage engine, so you can rev it that much high with the new camshaft. Because if your pistons and piston rings and the block itself are, you know, worn out or leaking oil, or you have like a blue smoke, no, don't do that. You need to rebuild the engine and then start doing all of these things. And if you want to rebuild the engine, just put forged internals in it and enjoy your day. That's it. Alright, so the exhaust is still restricting, of course, after putting a bigger camshaft and more aggressive camshaft. So we can go to 2 inch, 2.2 inch. No, let's stick to 2 inch for a start, and look at the power. Look at it. 161 horsepower, 134 pound-feet of torque. What an absolute amazing difference. Listen to it, listen to the camshaft. Wow. Because it's more aggressive. Alright, so the healthiest next step is, of course, to go with EFI if you want to keep your engine naturally aspirated. Or you can, I don't know if you can find like a kit or something, like a different intake manifold, so you can change into a 2-barrel carburetor or a DCOE carburetors, or of course a 4-barrel carburetors. I don't know if you can do that in real or not. I mean, because I don't want to choose like a different option, and you will tell me in the comment section below, no, you cannot do that, you can never find like an intake manifold that can support this engine. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna keep the single barrels, but I'm gonna do something different I never did before, which is turbocharging a single barrel carburetors. Yes, I never did that before. So let's say you are enjoying your engine, you have like nearly 100, and actually we have 161 horsepower. That's very good. 161 horsepower, that's very good. Alright, so you want more power, and of course the reason your mind will tell you boost, my friend. Alright, so let's drop the ignition timing. Let's choose 98 octane fuel, and yes, look at that turbo, extremely big, very big. And no, this is too much big actually for this engine, so let's say like 50 here, and maybe 44, no, actually less, 42, maybe even less, like 40. Alright, and this one is maxed out, like let's say, as you can see, when you hit like 10 psi like this, you will get this warning light. The fuel system, the carburetors cannot take this amount of boost. You need to lower it. So let's say I'm gonna go with 9.97 and ball bearing, and let's see what kind of result we have. Basically the same. What used to be 161, now it's 178. But check out the octane. We have a big amount of headroom to make this engine much powerful. Alright, so what should we do? Turbo is actually you need to go smaller, like 36, and this one is 49. Oh, you have to go smaller. Actually, this engine loves a smaller turbo. Alright, so the turbo, I think it's done. Now we need more ignition. Alright, let's see how crazy we can go. 75. Yes, 200 horsepower. But before celebrating the 200 horsepower mark, let's see the exhaust. 216, 219. Okay, so 2.8 inch, 2.8. Okay, so 2.8 is perfect. Bypass valves, mufflers, as you can see. And now let's go crazy with the ignition timing. 225 horsepower. What a beast! This engine used to be really crappy. Oh, this one is better. This one is better. Oh my god, the smallest turbine actually. Engine loves a smaller turbine. and 132 only. This engine actually loves a smaller turbo. I know that we are losing power, but check out the torque. Alright, now that's much better. I think, yes, we lost power, not 225 right now, I know that. But check out the torque. Yes, with a much bigger camshaft like this. Yes, 227 horsepower, 194 pound-feet of torque. Now that, my friend, is really good power. No, I don't want to push more fuel in. No. Let's see if the RPM is actually perfect or not. Yes, it's perfect. 7,000 RPM. That's much better. What an engine! 226.7 horsepower, nearly 200 pound-feet of torque, 194 as you can see. It's much more powerful. Yes, it's a little bit less reliable, but the power, it's still very quiet. It's a little bit much better with throttle response, and look at 227 horsepower. We start only with 76 horsepower. Turbocharging a carburetor. Sounds amazing, wow. And look at it, it has twin single barrel carburetors. Check out the airbox, it's very like classic retro looking airbox. Turbocharger, amazing. Of course there is like this error here, they should fix this angle here, but look at it, it has a distributor in the rear, this funky looking camshaft as you can see with the cam gear as you can see visible spinning, and of course these classic carburetors with the intercooler in the front. This turbocharger looks very like classic and modern at the same time, which is really amazing. Wow, I'm really happy with the end result here. We started only with 76 horsepower and 115 pound-feet of torque. Now we have 226 horsepower and 194 pound-feet of torque. Now this is a really good example of making a boring engine into a really tuner dream engine. Can you imagine that you have the classic original first generation facelift Ford Transit van, and you have made this engine to make 226 horsepower. Of course you have to change like the gearbox. The original gearbox cannot take this amount of torque and power, and like you have to change like the drive shaft, you have to upgrade the rear differential, you have to upgrade the brakes, and of course you have to put like a better with more grip, more traction tires, and let's see what else. I think that's pretty much it. And if you want like to put better suspension components, this is like an upgrade for your vehicle, for your van. Can you imagine driving a really classic first generation Ford Transit van with this kind of power and these kind of upgrades? It will be like a tiny sleeper. Of course this will not go like 400 kilometers per hour, no, of course not, but from 76 horsepower to 226. Now this is a big gap of power. And remember, we did not put any kind of computer gizmos here. It's still mechanical, it's still classic old school. Of course, like with catalytic converter, you have to put like an O2 sensor here, of course, so you can maintain the correct air-fuel ratio. But you know what I mean, everything is still very much classic old school, which is really good. And I'm really happy with the end result here, because I really didn't want to go to EFI, because going to EFI you will start to play with like injectors, ECU, you will start to open laptops and everything. But keeping it simple and very classic like this, I mean, the only thing here modern, as I said, is the O2 sensors here in front and in the back of the catalytic converter, and these requires like a gauge only. There are no laptops here, no modifications, no ECU also, nothing. Classic old school distributor, as you can see. Set the timing here, ignition, a little ignition box, or what do they call it, like a coil, I think, a coil. And of course, if you want to change the air-fuel ratio, just play with the carburetor jets, and that's it, job done. And also the turbo, if you want to play with the boost, you can adjust it manually. There are no valves, nothing. Everything is mechanical, unless of course you are using like a very modern turbocharger. You have like, I think you need like an ECU or something to control the blow-off valve electronically. And yes, so you see what's the point here. It's up to you. Everything is always up to you. You can go EFI. It will be more efficient, much better to start in cold weathers, and it will be more reliable. You want to stay classic, this is a very great example of classic, so it's up to you. So thank you so much guys for watching, and thank you so much Mr. Diamond Miner for this amazing request. And please, if you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button, get subscribed if you are new to my channel, and of course share the video if you want to share it, and hit that notification bell button so you can get a notification each time I release a new video. So thank you so much for watching, and this has been episode number 15, sorry, of making a boring engine into a tuner dream engine. And goodbye for now, my friends.